Shalom, Israel, Shalom, Shalom, Brother Nakwam, Watchman for Israel, coming back at you with these precepts and another cold cut, giving, of course, our honor and glory to Yahweh, Bahashima Mashiach, Wamalaki Bashai, double honor to the elect elders of the house of David that's been in this truth for decades and decades, patiently waiting and laboring for the second coming of our Lord Yahweh Shai. A hearty, mighty Shalom to all of the mighty men of the Most High God who are out there on the highways and byways, pushing this truth, magnifying the ministry, presenting their bodies as a living sacrifice, and enduring all things for the elect's sake. Shalom, shalom. Shalom to all of the men that may not be out there on the highways and byways as of yet, but they're working on it. They're getting built up in the spirit. They're praying. They're fasting. They're studying. They're being diligent, and they're abounding in the work of the Lord. Shalom, shalom. Shalom to all of the Aquath out there, the sincere sisters that are out there zealous, diligent, and on fire, and moving in the spirit of our righteous foremothers. Shalom to the ancient men. Shalom to the children. Shalom to the elect of Israel scattered abroad throughout the four corners of the earth. And shalom to everybody keeping a mighty new moon through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bashmiel Shai, entering into another month to transition from darkness into light and to increase wonderfully in our changing, pursuant to Ecclesiastes chapter 43, verses 6 and 7 on down. Right? The new moon instructs us and converses with the sons of God and allows us to understand that it's not acceptable to be in darkness, nor to remain in darkness, but rather that we should strive for perfection and increase in light, which is our wisdom, knowledge, and understanding, and disperse that light to those who have it not. Right? So all praise to Yahweh Shemel Shai for another new moon. Shalom to everybody tuning in live. Carmel, Octave Rectitude, Don Israel Tamid, Nigel Blends, St. Malachi, Shalom, D. Rivers, Christ Hike Mountains, Yvette McKellar, Praise Yahweh, Yaakov Israel, Yazian David, Yehuda Israel, Ephraimite Ak, and everybody else tuning in, and that will tune in, Lord willing. Harsh truth about the demonic wars of the beast and Awan. And we're touching on this based off of what's currently going on, right? Based off of the prophecies, based off of the Heavenly Father's judgments that are in the earth, based off of the wars and the rumors of wars, and based off of the current events, right? Just speaking right into it, based off of the current events. You have America, you have the state of Israel, you have Iran, you have these wars like Yahushua prophesied of, right? And you have these rumors of wars. We're going to dive into why these wars are happening on a carnal level, right? This is the book of Mark, chapter 13 and verse number 7. And when ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars, be ye not troubled, for such things must needs be, but the end shall not be yet. And you're going to continually have wars. You're going to have ceasefires. You're going to have, we're calling for peace and violations of peace. You're going to have wars and rumors of wars ultimately until Yahweh returns and ceases the battle out of the earth, pursuant to this book of Psalms, right? But and also the Lord said in Micah the 4th chapter, nation shall not lift up sword against nation, neither shall they learn war anymore. So the Most High is going to remove the spirit of war and conflict from the other nations in the land or in the kingdom of heaven, right? So you have these rumors of wars, of invasions, of, if you've been watching, you would understand that Babylon the Great said they destroyed the nuclear facilities out there in Iran. You're saying they really didn't. You're hearing all these nations, it seems like they're in agreement. You hear Israel said, we're going to violate the ceasefire. You're having these wars and rumors of wars. But also, you have to understand why these things are happening, right? Let's go to Daniel, the 8th chapter. We're going to touch on, we know spiritually that the Most High is orchestrating these things, that Yahweh is a man of war. We understand in Proverbs chapter 21 and 1 that the king's heart is in the hand of the Lord, right? Let's read that. Proverbs 21 and 1. The king's heart is in the hand of the Lord. As the rivers of water, he turneth it whithersoever he will. Meaning the Most High controls the minds of every world leader, every prime minister, every president, every elected official, every world leader and king, no matter what your title is, you have been chosen by the Most High, right? And your mind is in the hand of the Lord. So every decision that you make, whether it's for good or for bad, has been predetermined by the foreknowledge of the creator of heaven and earth. And it's up to the Most High to do what he wants to do with your mind, right? He can make you go to war. He can make you sign a peace treaty. He can make you invade a nation. He can make you, take care of the poor, right? And take care of poverty. The Most High can have you heal a disease. He can do all these things by his divine will, right? But we also understand that the Most High, he's orchestrating this on a spiritual level. Let's go to Wisdom of Solomon, the 6th chapter, right? These things must be understood that Trump has no power of his own. As much as he's proud and he makes all of these tweets and I did this and I'm the chosen one. And right now they're actually calling Trump daddy, man. So you've been watching, right? And Trump is calling them his children. His look is more stout than his fellows, right? So right now, you may think that this man or these men, these world leaders, do their own will, but they're at the beckoning of the Heavenly Father, right? This is the book of Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 6 and verse number 1. Hear therefore, O ye kings, and understand. Learn, ye that be judges of the ends of the earth. Give ear, you that rule the people, and glory in the multitude of nations. So the Lord is calling out every man that leads a nation, right? Verse 3. For power is given you of the Lord, and sovereignty from the highest, who shall try your works and search out your counsels. You see that? So power is given them of the Lord, man. It doesn't matter if they were born into the kingdom. Certain monarchies, if you come from a particular line or lineage of men, you're born into that kingship. The Most High set that up. We as a people, that's how our kings were passed from the seed of David, right? David, Solomon, Rehoboam, all of these men, Abijah and Asa and Jehoshaphat and etc., down to our Lord Yahushua. Those men were born into that kingdom, that bloodline. The Most High set that up. Certain leaders are allegedly elected by the public. Certain people are chosen by top men in the government. Certain men are handpicked by shadow governments, deep states, and elite societies, aristocracies and bureaucracies in these things, man. Regardless of how it's set up, the power comes from the Most High and sovereignty from the highest, who shall try your works and search out your counsels, right? And this is what the Most High is doing. He's trying the works of these men. And that's why the Most High is going to bring all these nations to the valley of decision, to the valley of Jehoshaphat, Yahweh's judgment, because he's going to judge them according to their works. And the Lord is searching out their works. And these nations and their leaders are idolaters, man, murderers, thieves, extortioners, right? Wicked men, adulterers, fornicators, molesters. Verse number 4. This is why this whole thing is going down. Because being ministers of his kingdom, you have not judged the right, nor kept the law, nor walked after the counsel of God. And that starts with the children of Israel first, our leaders, but also this applies to the other nations. They don't keep the law, they don't judge it right, and they don't walk after the counsel of the Most High. Therefore, what? Horribly and speedily shall he come upon you, for a sharp judgment shall be to them that be in high places. Right? So if you're in a high place, and we're speaking about these nations, you're a president, a world leader, you're some illuministic child sacrificing, black suit wearing Amalekite. Guess what? Sharp judgment is coming to you. So we know that on a spiritual level, right? The Lord said that we compare spiritual things with spiritual, right? Let's get that in 1 Corinthians 2. 1 Corinthians chapter 2 and verse number 13. Which things also we speak, not in the words which man's wisdom teacheth, but that which the Holy Spirit teacheth, comparing spiritual things with spiritual. So when you come into this truth, you begin to fear the Most High and understand the divine providence of the Most High. He oversees all things. He orchestrates all things. This is his movie. He's the puppet master. He controls the shots. He's calling the shots. You begin to understand that. You compare spiritual things with spiritual things. You understand that the angels and demons are literally influencing the minds of these people to do the bidding of the Heavenly Father. Although you may not see that with your bodily eyes, these things are happening regardless. So we understand that on a spiritual level, but now we're going to break it down on a carnal level, what the Most High is doing on a surface level, right? Because again, you have Israel and Iran, right? This is the two major parties that the Most High is dealing with right now. The Most High is dealing with Iran. He's dealing with Israel, right? They're being used to fulfill his purpose and to fulfill his will. The Lord used the Egyptians. Hey, the Most High was dealing with the Egyptians. He's dealing with Trump. Hey, like we always say, the Most High is dealing with everybody. Just depends if he's dealing with you on the left-hand side or he's dealing with you on the right-hand side. And right now he's dealing with them on the left-hand side. Now, why Israel and Iran on a carnal level? Why does Israel and America have stakes in Iran? Why are there always wars with Iraq? Why are there wars in Afghanistan, Kuwait, Persian Gulf, the war against weapons of mass destruction? Right now, they're telling Iran we want to stop them from building a nuclear bomb and gathering uranium. All of these things are really a facade, right? All those things about them, just like back in 2000, was that 3? They have weapons of mass destruction. We want to go in there because they're doing this. These devils, and the Bible speaks to it explicitly, all they want is gold, money, wealth, resources. And if you don't get down with their foreign policy and their agenda, they'll destroy you, man. Right? They will destroy you. And that's what this whole thing is about. Now, let's go to the book of Psalms, right? Let's go to Psalms chapter 64, right? Psalms chapter 64 and verse 1. Hear my voice, O God, in my prayer. Preserve my life from fear of the enemy. Hide me from the secret counsel of the wicked, from the insurrection of the workers of iniquity. So you have your government officials that you see today, Congress, the House, the Senate, etc., right? Your president, legislative, executive, all these things, right? And I'm going to say this too. I was talking to brothers, man. If you want to really get deeper into the prophecies and understand what's going on the earth, you have to watch and also understand geopolitics to a certain degree, right? You have to get deeper into what the Most High is doing on the earth. That's why you have certain things in the Bible that the Most High doesn't give you. He doesn't tell you that America's Babylon the Great, right? You don't know that the kings of the East is Russia, China, and Iran. You don't know what the SCO is, the Shanghai Corporation Organization, right? The 10 horns being the European Union, NATO being the beast, America, Canada, and predominantly Western Europe, right? You read about the Dragons of Arabia, right? Which is your Peninsula Shield Force, right? You read about Gog and Magog and their allies, which is predominantly led by the CSTO. You have to know these things. You also have to know that there's a secret council that backs up this American government, right? Owned by the elites, right? This is the secret council of the wicked, the insurrection of the workers of iniquity, who whet their swords who whet their tongue like a sword, and bend their bows to shoot their arrows, even bitter words, right? So there are what you call secret societies. And you have people that are naive to this. Oh, that's a conspiracy. America wouldn't do that. You have deep state shadow governments, right? Spiritual. Doesn't the Apostle Paul speak of spiritual wickedness in high places? They're the ones who are orchestrating an agenda against the Most High, right? This is Ephesians chapter 6 and 12. For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places. So that's high level principalities and demonic realms and different places that the Most High set up that are influenced by angels, like the Middle East and the angels bound in the river Euphrates, the angels that dry up the river, working on the minds of the people. Those are principalities and powers. And also carnally, you have the rulers of the darkness of this world who deal with spiritual wickedness in high places. And you don't see these guys, man. They're not on they're not giving the State of the Union address. You don't see them when it's time to decide who you would like to vote for. Not saying we should vote, but again, the mass of the people, these guys don't run for office. They're born into these things. They're pulling the strings. They have an agenda. They have plots and secret persuasions, man. You know? Now, what they call them, this is just a carnal word for it, right? Deep state. And a lot of you brothers, you're familiar with this. We're just going to touch on this because there's a reason why Israel and America are going into Iran, right? And it has nothing to do with them building a nuclear weapon, right? That's just to beguile the public. The same thing they did with Iraq. Oh, they have weapons of mass destruction. But there's pictures of them stealing their gold. They were stealing their children. Right? They're oppressing them to this day. But they make the public believe the lies and the deception, the wine of the beast. Right? So this is deep state. Is a term used for real or imagined. And it's not imagined. Right? The Bible speaks of it. Right? We just read it in Ephesians, the 6th chapter, and Psalm 64. Right? Is a term used for real or imagined, potential unauthorized, and often secret networks of power operating independently of a state's political leadership in pursuit of their own agendas and goals. And they have to throw this word imagined in there to throw you off. You have secret networks. We read that in Psalm 64. Hide me from the secret counsel of the wicked. Same thing in Ephesians 6. Spiritual wickedness in high places, the rulers of the darkness of this world. Now, on the previous code cut I did, I pulled up the interview. I didn't have it set because I pulled it up before. But you can look it up on your own. Putin actually came out and he spoke about this. You know? And Putin came out and he said presidents would like to run a country the way that they were raised and the way that they learned according to law school and politics and foreign policy. But he actually said that there are men in dark suits with briefcases. And he was talking about the Jewish man, Amalek, who come and tell them how things should be done. Matter of fact, I'm going to pull that up for brothers that may have missed that. Right? Let's pull that back up. Right? Let's pull that back up. Putin actually came out and said that, man. Right? The Lord said, then shall the wicked be revealed. And we're going into that. We're revealing the wicked, man, so that people can understand what's actually going on. Let me see if I can find that. Putin dark suits. Right? I pulled that up, I believe maybe 2 lessons ago. All right, so let's play this. Right? He said, men in dark suits run the United States. So every war that America's in, it's being puppeteered by Amalek. Who's Amalek? The so-called Jew. Right? The great devil and deceiver on the earth. It doesn't matter if it was World War I. They were pulled into World War I by them. World War II, World War III, all of these wars that you see, that even them dealing with Iran right now, all of that is part of the agenda of Amalek to fulfill them taking over that land. And we spoke of this before, but now we're going to get the granularity, right? We're going to dive deeper into it through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bashim Yahushua. Now I gotta hold on. Let me fix this because I want to get the audio right. I played this before, but we're gonna play it again for brothers that may have missed it, and then we're going to dive. We got a lot of information we want to get into. There's a lot of information we want to bring out through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bashim Yahushua. So let's play this. Here's what Putin said: men in dark suits rule the U.S. Who's the men in dark suits? These men, right? These are the men in dark suits that rule the United States. That's why, where's this picture at? Right? Let's see, I had this. Bear with me. That's why you have every president and world leader, they go to Israel and they put the yarmulke on and they bow down to Amalek. Trump, Clinton, Obama. I can't make out who that is right there. So-called Pope, right? Bush. Right? I can't remember this guy from Britain. That guy, right? So-called Daddy Bush. They all work for Amalek, right? All of your elected officials serve the same master. And Putin knows that. They have to bow down to Satan. Now, I'm probably not even showing this on the screen, right? Let me pull this up. It's like I said, I got a lot I want to pull up, right? So bear with me, be patient with me, because I want to pull that picture up. Then I want to go back into that. All right, here's what I was showing, right? All of your elected officials serve the same master, right? And again, like I called out, you can see Clinton. And all these guys are child molesters, man, and murderers and sodomites, right? They're all into child sacrifice, wickedness, theft, robbery. They're all proud, liars. They're all demons. You know, and they're into all manner of freakism, right? They're into all manner of freakism, revelry, and wickedness. Right? You see this guy, Obama, your so-called first black president. Part of his agenda was pushing sodomy. Trump, he had his plan. All these Amalekites give these guys a plan. So when Putin said that there are men that run in society in dark suits, he was talking about Amalek. Right? Why do they all have to go to this wall? Is there blood from dead Jake dripped in the wall, man? Is this, what the hell is going on? What do they do when they get here, man? Bowing down to Satan and freakism. What happens after they're done bow? What's the rest of the ceremony? Because this looks like a ritualistic ceremony to me. It's prayer. They're invoking the name of a particular deity. They're calling for power. They're conforming themselves. So there's a lot of freakism going on, man. People are talking about Diddy. These guys are worse than that, man. So let's pull up the actual audio clip, right? And I want to get a precept as well, right, in the book of First Ezra. But let's pull up the actual audio of what Putin said. Like I said, we got a lot we want to get into, right? Putin said, men in dark suits around the United States. Again, these are the men in dark suits, right? So let's play this.
Понимаете, я уже общался.
Obviously, he's speaking Russian, so you can see the subtitles, right? He says, I've already spoken to 3 United States presidents.
Понимаете, я уже общался и с одним президентом США, и с другим, и с третьим. Президенты приходят и уходят, а политика...
They come and go, but politics stay the same at all times. Because a lot of these guys, they have different political agendas they would like to accomplish. Remember, a lot of these presidents are actually intelligent according to the world. Remember that. These presidents, they have degrees, right? And they're lawyers. Some of these guys are lawyers, former senators. These guys aren't just guys off the streets. But a lot of these guys are hand-selected, huh? And they may want to push a particular thing to fix a problem in America. But even Putin is saying the politics stay the same because no matter what they would like to do, Amalek tells them what they're going to do.
Политика не меняется. Знаете почему? Потому что очень сильна власть бюрократии. Вот человека избрали, он приходит...
When a person is elected, they may have some idea.
С одними идеями. К нему приходят люди с кейсами. Хорошо одеты.
Then people with briefcases arrive. Who's the only people that wear briefcases? I don't have a briefcase. A Hamite, you ever seen a Hamite with a briefcase? You've never seen one Hamite with a briefcase ever. A Moabite ain't really rocking a briefcase. Amalek got a damn briefcase. Then people with briefcases arrive, well-dressed, wearing dark suits. See that? Just like mine, except for the red ties, they were a black or a dark blue ones, right?
И в темных, как у меня, костюмах, но только не с красным галстуком, а с черным или с темно-синим. И начинают объяснять.
These people start explaining how things are done.
Как нужно делать. И все сразу меняется, понимаете? Это происходит от одной...
Instantly everything changes. This is what happens with every administration. Right? So you see what he said. Like I said, you can watch the rest on your own. But he came out and said it, man. Right? He came out and he spoke against it. And the people in dark suits, they're running Trump. And they're the ones who want to go into Iran. It has nothing to do with weapons. It has nothing to do with nuclear facilities. We're going to dive into this and show what's actually going on, man. Right? Slocky, this is let's see if I can load this back up. All right, I wanted to get this in First Ezra. Right? Let's go to First Ezra, the 5th chapter. Right? This First Ezra, chapter 5 and verse number 73. It reads, and by their secret plots and popular persuasions and commotions, they hindered the finishing of the building all the time that King Cyrus lived. So they were hindered from building for the space of 2 years until the reign of Darius. So the concept of nations having secret plots and popular persuasions and commotions is nothing new. Read Psalms 83, man. These things are always happening, and they've been happening from the time of old. This is the Persian Empire that had secret plots to overthrow Zerubbabel and Joshua from building the foundation and building a temple. Secret plots are in the Bible, man. Popular persuasions. I believe in Judith, it speaks of that as well. Let's get that. Judith chapter 2 and verse number 2. I'm going to start at 1. In the 18th year and 22nd day of the first month, there was talk in the house of Nebuchadnezzar, king of the Assyrians, that he should, as he said, avenge himself on all the earth. So he wants to take over the whole earth. Think about a new world order, a global elitist agenda. Just like Nebuchadnezzar, he wanted to take over all the known world. So what did he do? Verse number 2. So he called unto him all his officers and all his nobles, and communicated with them his secret counsel, and concluded the afflicting of the whole earth out of his mouth. And everybody wasn't invited at this council, man. You had to know a guy that knew a guy that knew a guy that knows the king to actually be in this council. There were wise men, magicians, sorcerers, soothsayers, men that dealt with familiar spirits and charmers and people that dealt with all types of wickedness. These were the men that were in these councils, bro. So like we were going into, these are secret networks of power operating independently, right? Because Amalek, they operate, and if the Federal Reserve, their entire system operates independent, the elite families, the Rothschilds, Rockefellers, Oppenheimers, DuPonts, the Gettys, they operate independently of the government. One of these devils said, if you give me power over the nation's money, I don't care who makes the laws. They actually came out and said that. He said, give me, and I'm paraphrasing, he said, if you allow me to control the nation's money, I don't care who makes the laws. So they print the money, they own the Federal Reserve, it's independent of the government, so they don't care who makes the laws because everybody bows down to them, right? I can't remember exactly who that was. If you know, you can put it in the chat, right? It was one of the Rothschilds, right? Rothschild, right? Care not who makes laws, right? Okay, it's not Jefferson. Oh, look at this. Look at this. Look what he said, right? The end of democracy and the defeat of the American Revolution will occur when government falls into the hands of lending institutions and moneyed corporations. He said that in 1816, America's going to fall. Pretty much, he said, because remember, these presidents had power at one time. They actually had power, right? Maybe not as much as you may think, but they actually had power. They were generals. They went to war. People submitted to them. But then once the Federal Reserve Act, and we've covered this before, right? And they passed that, America became a puppet. And all these guys knew that, huh? Now he said, Meyer Amschel Rothschild, let me issue and control the nation's money, and I care not who writes the laws. You see that? If you control the money, you control everything. I don't care who makes the laws, man. I pay the guy that make the laws. So therefore, if he want to get paid, he going to make the laws that I want him to make. That's why we got all these freakism laws out here. Because these guys are sodomites, man. And murderers and demons. Right? So let's read a little bit more on this. Right? I'm going to jump down. Let's see. Like I said, I'm not going to read this whole thing. But you can read this more. Read this on your own. Right? You can read this on your own. And guess what he got right here? Amalek. Why Amalek, man? With scales and balances in his hand. Right? It says, this is anti-Shemitic, right? Just to touch on this. This is anti-Shemitic propaganda. And they're calling it anti-Shemitic. But you brothers got eyes to see, you know what they're saying. Right? Anti-Shemitic propaganda poster from German-occupied Serbia, depicting a stereotyped Amalekite figure holding scales balancing communism and capitalism. See that? The text translates, who will be heaviest? No one, because the Jew holds the scale. Such imagery promoted harmful conspiracy narratives alleging hidden Jewish control over world affairs. Capitalism, communism. I believe that's Stalin, right? So these guys control it, man. Right? They control it. So let's read a little bit more on this, right? Let's read a little bit more on this. It reads, the earliest, this is the deep state as a Slakia. And if you want to read this whole thing, you're more than welcome to. The deep state, Slakia, it keeps doing that. All right, I'll just read as it is. The deep state as a political weapon. Let's see if I can start here. Right, bear with me, I want to highlight this. Okay, the early 20th century was marked by political and social upheaval, fueling anxieties about hidden power structures manipulating government affairs. And I'm going to say this, people kind of knew. A lot of these politicians, they knew about Amalek. A lot of these people knew about these devils, man. Before they was beguiling people with hundreds of years and decades of the media and propaganda and sorcery. Jefferson knew about it. Woodrow Wilson knew about it. A lot of these Edomites, they knew about Amalek and not letting them get involved. They knew these things. Because once Amalek get control, they knew their government was over. Even Jefferson said it. He's a devil too, man. You got one devil saying that another devil is a devil, man. So you can't say, well, that's just us saying that. The Israelites, we're mad. No, even you got Edomites speaking about that. It says, as states faced revolution, war, and economic crisis, leaders increasingly warned of shadowy elites and internal conspiracies to justify crackdowns on political opposition and civil liberties. While concerns about entrenched influence within bureaucracies, militaries, and financial institutions were sometimes valid, which means these conspiracies, these men who ran these kingdoms, they said, when Amalek get in, he's going to take over and bring everything to hell. They're saying that these things are valid. Governments often exploited these fears to consolidate power, suppress dissent, and expand authoritarian control under the guise of protecting democracy, right? And you see that going on. You see that now. America goes to war under the guise of protecting democracy. They invade this country. They take over this land. They say that this guy, and I saw this one post. They said that, I saw this one post where even the media is trained to use certain words. Man, they do that with us. You know, they're doing that with Amalek. They call the Iranian kingdom, they call it a regime. Then they call the state of Israel a country or a kingdom, right? They call them terrorists. And they call Amalek another name. They always got these names to throw the spirit off. This is a terrorist regime. Well, the state of Israel is a terrorist regime, huh? Bombing and destroying millions of people, week by week, month by month. So they're the ones orchestrating this behind the scenes. Capital, all of that, right? And we read that in the scriptures. Now, this is another quick article. Again, I'm not going to read the whole thing. United States involvement in regime change. So they want to, if you're studying and watching, they want to overthrow the modern day leader in Iran, right? I believe, I can't quite pronounce his name, right? Atolia, see if we get his name right here, right? Here it is, Salakia. This is supreme leader. Is this guy? Salakia. Look at this guy. Ali, that's his name, Salakia. Ali Khamenei, right? Now, he's their so-called supreme leader, right? He's their top guy, right? He's their top guy. Now he's calling shots, right? He's calling the shots. Now they want this guy out of here. Why do they want this guy out? They want a regime change. They want to overthrow this guy and put a guy in that is pro the Israeli American agenda. Now, a lot of these Arab leaders are actually backed up by America and by the so-called Jew. You know, there's something called the Abraham Accords, right? You have other political agendas that have Arabs linking up with Amalek. So they want this guy out. This guy said, I'm not bowing down. I'm not getting down with your New World Order. I'm not getting down with your program. They want to take this guy out and put another puppet guy in. That's what America does. They overthrow kingdoms, and then they put the guys in who have their interest, right? So this guy, he is the second supreme leader of Iran since 1989. His tenure as supreme leader, spanning 36 years, makes him the longest serving head of state in the Middle East and second longest surviving or serving Iranian leader of the 20th and 21st century after Shah Mohammad Reza Pahlavi. So they would want this guy taken out, and they want men like this in. So this guy right here, like I said, we diving into what's really going on, right? Where's this devil that I had? All these guys are devils. They want this guy in, right? This guy was pro-America. He was pro-America. And what they did was America overthrew this Iranian kingdom, right? It's like the Iranians overthrew this guy because he was a coon. Iran overthrew this guy and said, you're a sellout. And they put the modern day guy that's in charge right now, right? Let me actually read this. So long story short, what's going in Iran is they want to get rid of this guy who's pro Muslim, right? Pro-Islam. He's pro-China, Russia, and they want to put the descendant, his son, and his descendants back in charge, right? So let's read this real quick. And we're going to read that in the Bible. During World War II, now this guy, his name is, what's his name? Mohammad Reza Shah, right? So let's read this. During World War II, the Anglo-Soviet invasion of Iran forced the abdication of Reza Shah and the succession of Mohammad Reza Shah. During his reign, the British-owned oil industry was nationalized. So this guy, he was with Amalek. This is your BP, right? When you look at the BP gas station, the Anglo-Persian oil company, that's before, now it's called BP. They was able to do that with his help. He said, look, y'all Edomites, y'all come in. I love Esau. I'm going to help y'all get y'all oil. I'm going to help y'all get y'all money up. Y'all give me weapons. Y'all give me protection. And I give y'all everything y'all need. Right? That's your modern day BP. Right? This started with coonery right here. Right? Your modern day British Petroleum. It started with Amalek and these other Edomites going into Iran and setting up a guy that they can use so they can harvest the natural resources out of that land. So let's go back to this, right? And we're going to go into what the Most High said, what happened. It says, during his reign, the British-owned oil industry was nationalized by the Prime Minister Mohammad Mossadegh, who had support from Iran's parliament to do so. However, Mossadegh was overthrown in the 1953 Iranian coup d'etat, right? So they overthrew the previous guy and put this guy up, right? And they put this guy up. It reads, which was carried out by the Iranian military under the aegis of the United Kingdom and the United States. You see that? I'm going to read that again. There was an entire coup A coup is when you overthrow a government. The United States and the United Kingdom, at the bidding of Amalek, overthrew the Iranian government. Subsequently, the Iranian government centralized power under the Shah and brought foreign oil companies back into the country's industry through the consortium agreement in 1954. You see that? So they need guys in there to get them their money, man. See, Esau, he speaks about gang banging, gangs and drugs. He's the ultimate gangbanger. There's no greater gangbanger on the earth than an Amalekite. Here you are, you're doing your thing. You have your nation's interest in heart you have their best interest in heart. Then here comes Amalek, who sees gold, Esau, who sees all of the rest of this oil. They help overthrow the government so they can take your damn oil, man. It was carried out by the Iranian military. Where they get weapons and training from? They got it from the United Kingdom and the United States. So there's no new thing under the sun. What they're doing now is what they've always been doing. They say this guy's a dictator, he's a terrorist, he's killing children, he's burning women up, but they really want the resources. Subsequently, the Iranian government centralized power under the Shah and brought foreign oil companies back into the country's industry. So they need guys like this, man. They need guys like this in power to be able to help them gain their money. This guy, where's this guy at? Right? Let me see if I go back. This guy, he's not like that. So they want to take him out and they want to say, well, they have nuclear weapons and they're going to destroy all of mankind. Let's go to what the Most High said. Let's go to the book of Daniel. Right? Let's go to Daniel, the 8th chapter. Right? Here's what the Lord said, man. This is Daniel chapter 8 and verse number 25. And through his policy also, he shall cause craft to prosper in his hand, and he shall magnify himself in his heart, and by peace shall destroy many. He shall also stand up against the prince of princes, but he shall be broken without hand. So the Most High says that through his policy, he shall cause craft to prosper in his hand. His policy are his laws. Now, this policy is really his foreign policy. You have something called foreign policy. That's the policy that it's talking about. It's not talking about local policy and, you got to stop at the red light and, we're going to have this many police officers patrol the streets and we're going to have this guy run for mayor. This policy is not domestic policy. This policy is really foreign policy. Let's pull up the definition of foreign policy. Right? Foreign policy. And like brother say, man, foreign policy is turned into Bible prophecy. Let's get the definition. And if you want to understand prophecy, you have to know foreign policy to a degree. A government strategy in dealing with other nations. That's what foreign policy is. How are we going to deal with the other nations? Should we go to war? Should we do trade with them? Should we send our imports to them? Our exports, should we take their imports, right? Should we put tariffs, sanctions, embargoes? All of that is foreign policy. The foreign policy concerning the Middle East has been what it always is, under different disguises. One disguise is the Taliban, Al-Qaeda, 9/11. These are the different disguises that they put on. What's another one? Iraq has weapons of mass destruction. Osama bin Laden is murdering children. Now the new one is the leader of Iran. He's building nuclear weapons to kill little children. All of that is witchcraft and sorcery. See, the Bible calls that wine, right? He calls that the wine of the whore, right? Let's get another precept. So this policy is his foreign policy, and that's how he causes his trickery to prosper, right? Let's go to the book of Revelation, the 17th chapter. Right, this Revelation, actually, let's get something else. Let's go to Habakkuk chapter 2. Right, this Habakkuk chapter 2 and verse number 4. Yea, Slakia, Behold, his soul, which is lifted up, is not upright in him, but the just shall live by his faith. Right? The soul of who? Who's the his? His soul. His is Esau, the Edomite, the so-called white man. No matter if he's from Germany or he's from Switzerland or he's an Amalekite, every single one of their souls is not upright, man. It's wrong. It's wicked. They're not. The Lord said the wicked are estranged from the womb. They go astray as soon as they be born, speaking lies. That's Psalms 58, 3 on down. See, the just, we're going to live by our faith. But the wicked, they'll never do what's right. Here's the point of verse 5. Yea, also, because he transgresseth by wine. He is a proud man, neither keepeth at home, who enlargeth his desire as hell, and is as death, and cannot be satisfied, but gathereth unto him all nations, and heapeth unto him all people. So Habakkuk prophesied about the foreign policy of America. That's what this wine is, right? The foreign policies, their philosophies, their democracy, their religions. All of that is their wine. And they're proud, man. And they don't stay at home. That's why they're in Iran now. That's why they have military bases all throughout the Middle East. He can't be satisfied. He'll take your gold, it's not enough. He'll take your oil, it's not enough. He'll take your children, it's not enough. He'll take your woman, it's not enough. This damn sodomite, he'll take your men and little boys, and it's still not enough. So a lot of the nations are drinking from the wine, meaning they have accepted the policies of America in order for them to prosper as a kingdom. Nations that don't accept the wine are called terrorist organizations. Nations that don't accept the wine, their leaders are now dictators. Nations that don't accept the wine, they're regimes, wicked regimes, right? They have weapons of destruction. They kill babies. They kill children. That's the sorcery that they put on the public, the minds of the people, if you don't drink their wine. And that's what they're going to do to the men of Yahweh Basham Yahushai, man. That's why they call us the names they call us, because we don't drink their wine. They call us the hate group, Black Hebrew Israelites. If you don't drink the wine, you're going to be you're going to be charged with all types of slander and violence and death. That's why we know the so-called white man's the devil, man. Even Iran, we went into that earlier. They call America the great Satan. Habakkuk 2 and 5 is speaking about how America prospers through foreign policy. That's what it's talking about. Verse number 6. Shall not all these take up a parable against him, and a taunting proverb against him, and say, woe to him that increaseth that which is not his? How long into him that ladeth himself with thick clay, man? So all of these nations, they're going to start riling themselves up, man. And say, look, enough is enough, man. Iran said enough is enough. You tried to overthrow our government back in the day. You put this damn coon in office. We overthrew you again, and now you want to overthrow us? No, man. Here goes some missiles. Russia, they on the phone with China. Shall they not rise up suddenly that shall bite thee, and awake that shall vex thee, and thou shalt be for booties unto them? So the Lord is waking up these nations that America once dominated. And these nations now are beginning to point their missiles at America. They're waking up, and they're going to vex and destroy through thermonuclear destruction. You can only be the bully for so long. Remember, the Most High calls America the hammer of the whole earth. Let's get that in Jeremiah 50. This is the book of Jeremiah, chapter 50, and verse number 23. How is the hammer of the whole earth cut asunder and broken? How is Babylon become a desolation among the nations? This is the hammer of the earth, man. They'll bomb you. They'll overthrow your government. Put sanctions on you. Cripple your economy. slander you, drop a bomb on you. Hey, this man's Esau's a nigga, man. He's a gangbanger. He's everything he tries to portray us to be. He's the one that makes the weapons. He bring in the drugs. And he's the biggest drug dealer on the earth. He's the biggest gangbanger on the earth, man. He the biggest what they call it, when he holding the block down, he hold the block down, man. You know? Can't come on his turf. You can't sell if he's selling in that area. If he pushing dope in Iraq, you better not come in there, man. If he pushing cocaine in the Philippines, he better not see no ships in the Pacific. You know? All these, and that's why Amalek is good at making these damn movies, man. All these movies are Paid in Full, Snowfall, The Wire, all these drug power. Amalek produced that, man. Jake can't really create that stuff, man. You know, Jake is just the stereotypical actor. He's a victim. These guys that lead these roles, Snowfall, Power, they're victims. They don't know that they're victims because Esau gave them a little dollars, but they're victims, man. Right? They're victims. That's all. So they're the hammer of the whole earth. They'll beat you down. They bet that they stealing your children and putting them on damn ships and shipping them to the Pentagon to get freaked off on, and you show up with your ships, man, or your plane gonna go up missing. If they rub their mittens like this, look at that oil over there. Damn, that's the guy, mad oil fields, right? Matter of fact, give us some of that oil. If you say, hell no, man, it's for my people. Again, now you become a dictator. Now they'll fund people and sow wickedness and discord in your country and get you killed. Let's go to Isaiah chapter 14 real quick, right? And we're going to prove that, man. First of all, we're showing you it's in the Bible. Isaiah chapter 14 and verse number 3, right? Isaiah 14 and 3. And it shall come to pass in the day that Yahweh shall give thee rest from thy sorrow, and from thy fear, and from thy hard bondage wherein thou wast made to serve, that thou shalt take up this proverb against the king of Babylon and say, how hath the oppressor ceased? The golden city ceased. He's the oppressor of us and the whole earth. He's the golden city, or America's the golden city. Yeah, and the king of Babylon, let me say this, the king of Babylon is not an individual. There's no actual king of Babylon. There's no actual man that runs America. You have an oligarchy, an aristocracy. That's why we went into the deep state. You have a shadow government. They represent the king of Babylon. Verse number 5, Isaiah 14 and 5. Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai hath broken the staff of the wicked and the scepter of the rulers. His staff represents his military might, his support, his strength, his politics. His scepters, his riches, his wealth. Which, you know, the scepter for a king is what shows that you have power, right? It's a sign of your wealth. You see certain scepters decked out with rubies, emeralds, diamonds. It's a sign of power and prestige, which really on a surface level is the American financial institution, right? And their wealth. And a staff is for what? Their military might. He who smote the people in wrath with a continual stroke, he that ruled the nations in anger is persecuted, and none hindereth. So this man rules the nations in anger. He doesn't just rule one nation. It's not just the nation of Israel. And he rules over the Elamites with anger. He rules over the Ishmaelites with anger. He'll rule over the Moabites with anger. He dropped 2 atomic bombs for no damn reason on the Ammonites. There was no legitimate reason to do that. Fat Boy and Little Man decimated or destroyed and annihilated thousands, if not millions of people. Putting people in experiments, man. Cloning people, freaking off on people, taking their children, popping them, whoring their women out, taking their gold. Hey, this guy's a damn devil, man. lying to the people, two-faced freak, taking your woman, killing your men off, kicking your door down, taking what he want to take. He that ruled the nations in anger is persecuted and none hindereth. Now, this is a United States involvement in regime change, right? A regime is a kingdom. If I'm not mistaken, the root word is regis, the etymology, which would mean king, right? So this is a kingdom. This is where you get the word regicide from, right? Regicide meaning the killing of a king, right? Or rex. All of that means king. So this is how the United States overthrows kingdoms. That's what this is saying. Now check this out. Now, I didn't make this article. Since the 19th century, the United States government, think about the precepts, the policy, and all of that, has participated and interfered both overtly and covertly, meaning publicly and privately, in the replacement of many foreign governments. So they covertly, secretly overthrows governments. In the latter half of the 19th century, the United States government initiated actions for regime change, mainly in Latin America and the Southwest Pacific, including the Spanish American and Philippine American wars. They started these wars through sorcery, overthrowing governments. At the onset, and that's wicked, man. Right? That's wicked. The Lord said, he that soweth discord among brethren. That's the chief thing that the Most High hates, when you sow discord. In America, they'll do that, man. They'll sow discord in your kingdom. At the onset of the 20th century, the United States shaped or installed governments in many countries around the world, including neighbors Hawaii, Panama, Nicaragua, Mexico, Haiti, and the Dominican Republic. That's the hammer of the whole earth. They install governments. Who the hell are they to go in your kingdom and install a government? We want these guys in charge. Get this guy out of here. Let's bring this guy in. We read that he that ruled the nations in anger, that hammered the whole earth. Through his policies, he caused craft to prosper in his hand, man. Overthrowing many governments. Right? Let's read a little bit more. Then I'm gonna get a precept. During war, so they did this whole side of the world. So we're gonna attack South America, Central America first. Then we move into that side of the world. During World War II, the United States helped overthrow many Nazi German or Imperial Japanese puppet regimes. Examples include regimes in the Philippines, Korea, East China, this devil all over the earth, and parts of Europe. U.S. forces, together with the United Kingdom and Soviet Union, were also instrumental in collapsing Hitler's government in Germany and disposing Mussolini in Italy. And what was Hitler doing, man? Hitler was actually taking action behind what Jefferson said. Remember the quote that Thomas Jefferson said in the beginning of the lesson? Jefferson came out and said, if the American government falls victim to money lending institutions, it's going to overthrow the country. You don't think this guy knew that? All them Amalekites trying to overthrow the kingdom. He said, I got to get rid of these guys, man. Esau said, and America said, hell no, man. So that's why he's the most hated. His name is like a damn bad word, man. You say his name at the workplace, they're going to pull you in HR. Even if you're just talking, candidly. Go, say his name, man. Right? You're going to get fired. Hitler. People, every head is going to damn break their neck. You can't even utter his name. The way that they threw this man in the dirt. He was trying to get Amalek out the banking institutions to get them out of Germany, man. And out of Europe. Mussolini out there in Italy. He was doing the same thing. And I got a video I'm gonna play. All of these, this guy in Iran currently, right? Where is he at? This guy right now. Stop paying attention to Fox News, man, and listening to what they got to say. We're showing you what's really going on. The demonic wars of the beast. His wine. This guy's the same guy, man. Oh, he's a dictator. He wants to overthrow the world. He wants to bomb the world. This devil he has a what you call an MO, right? A lot of serial killers, they have what you call they have a pattern of behavior. Some guys, they leave notes at the crime scene. Some guys, they'll carve their murderers, they'll carve their initials in their victim's chest. Some guys do it at night in alleys. See, Esau has a pattern of behavior. He has an MO. You can smell his damn wickedness a mile away. Again, he sees the resources. He sees your children. He sees the little boys, the gold and the oil. Paints the narrative that you're a demon. Overthrows your kingdom. Puts somebody up that is compliant to his foreign policy and uses him as a puppet king. I mean, he's been doing this forever. And that's why they want to go into Iran, right? Along with other reasons, but that's the main reason why they want to go into Iran, right? And there's another precept I was just thinking of through the spirit. Lord, let's get this in First Maccabees, right? Then I'm gonna play this video I want to get, right? I'm gonna play this quick clip, right? It's a few minutes, but I'm gonna play it. This is First Maccabees, chapter 8, and verse number. I want to get straight to the point. 1. Then I'm gonna jump down. This is speaking about the Romans, right? The Roman Republic, right? First Maccabees 8 and 1. Now Judas had heard of the fame of the Romans, that they were mighty and valiant men, and such as would lovingly accept all that joined themselves unto them, just like America. If you join yourself and you accept their policies and you get down with the New World Order, they won't destroy you. And make a league of amity with all that came unto them. And that they were men of great valor. It was told them also of their wars and noble acts, which they had done amongst the Galatians, and how they had conquered them and brought them under tribute. And the Romans did the same thing. Don't you know that a lot of lands that the Romans took, they called them barbarians, cannibals, savages? We have to civilize them. We have to go into Germania. We have to go into Gaul. We have to go into Dalmatia, the Lombards, the Burgundy. These guys are savages. These guys are murderers, man. You know, these guys eat out of skulls, right? These guys are cannibals, man. If I didn't say that already, we as the Romans, we must civilize them. Let's jump down. Verse number 4. And that by their policy and patience, they had conquered all that place, though it were very far from them. Don't that sound familiar? Through policy and through patience. They give you time before you fold and break down. And they'll conquer places even though it's far off from them. East China, right? Hawaii, right? The Philippines. Through policy, foreign policy. Let me read that again. This is how the Romans got down. And that by their policy and patience, they had conquered all that place, though it were very far from them. And the kings also that came against them from the uttermost part of the earth, so they had discomfited them and given them a great overthrow, so that the rest did give them tribute every year. Right? So they said, if you comply to us, you'll join us. If you don't, we're going to take over your economy. That's what this means. We're going to give you tribute. We're going to cripple your economy. That sounds very, very, very familiar. We will cripple your economy. Now, I'm going to play this audio of this clip right here. Right? I'm going to play this audio right? Through the spirit and power of Yahweh Shem Yahushua. I'm gonna play the video, right? And it's a quick YouTube video. I might pause it here and there, I might not, right? But this is let's see. This is this is fair use. American-backed coups, right? A coup or a coup d'etat. They call it a coup d'etat, right? I'm gonna just read that quick definition just so brothers understand, right? Let's see, a coup d'etat, a sudden, violent, and unlawful seizure of power from a government, a coup, right? I'm gonna read that again. Here's the definition of a coup. This is how America, this is also part of their wine. A sudden, violent, and unlawful seizure of power from a government. So let's play this.
Out and someone being put in. There's a weapon that powerful countries use to get rid of leaders they don't like, leaders from other countries.
Hold on, I'm gonna play it again. Again, he's going into how America's take down different kingdoms, right? Now he's an Edomite. I didn't ask him to make this video. I don't know this guy. I didn't pay him off. You know, he's not part of the camp. He's not, no, right? The Most High got a spirit of division on this society where they telling on themselves. And all we have to do is sit back and watch. So check out the wickedness of the beast with two horns like a lamb, but he spake as a dragon.
There's a weapon that powerful countries use to get rid of leaders they don't like, leaders from other countries. It's called a coup. It's a French word that means a punch or a blow, because it kind of means coming in and forcibly punching out a government from power. No elections, no process, just power being seized. Just someone being pushed out and someone being put in. Coups happen in so many different ways, but I want to show you how the coup has been used by the United States of America as a tool to get what they want on the world stage. So let me
see that. He said, I'm going to tell you how we're doing this on a world stage, man. And he's an Edomite.
He walked you through some of the major US-led coups over the years to show you that while it sometimes seems like we live in a world full of order and rules, the reality is that the most powerful countries will often get their way by whatever means necessary. Okay, so here's how I'm defining the US-led coups that I'm going to put on our list here. Number one.
We're going to play a few minutes of this. So sit back and watch. Again, I may pause it to bring out a precept. Right, I might not. I might just let it rock out because there's more that we want to get into. We only go. You can watch the rest of this on your own. I'm gonna just play maybe 2 minutes, 3 minutes of it here and there.
They were successful. There's a lot of failed coup attempts. We're leaving those out. Number two, there must be at least one US government official involved in the coup. And number three, we need concrete evidence that the US was actually involved, not just speculation. While the US has been involved in tons of regime change efforts around the world, we landed on a much shorter list. These are the coups that I think best exemplify how this tool has been used for international power over the years.
He's going to go through maybe 4 or 5, right?
Let's start here. In the independent country of Hawaii. It's 1893, and the U.S. is feeling like the Hawaiian Queen is a threat to American control over sugar. It's sugar that's being grown by the descendants of white American missionaries who had settled in Hawaii over the years. So the U.S. sends a military ship with hundreds of troops to show up to Honolulu, and they overthrow the Queen, installing one of those descendants of the Christian missionaries, Sanford B. Dole, as the new president. Notice his last name? Yeah, this coup was one of the U.S.'s first, and it set the stage not only for the new Hawaiian president's family to grow their powerful international corporation, which was based in Hawaii, but also for Hawaii to be annexed, to become a part of the United States.
So a lot of people think nobody knows how Hawaii got joined, man. Maybe they just want to come and they bought the land. That's not what happened, man. They stole it.
Made a whole video on this coup because it's pretty wild and there's so much going on here, and it was really a turning point in showing how the US could remove leaders from power in faraway places, something that they start to do a lot more of. We're going to move on to the next coup, but I need to thank today's sponsor. And you
fast forward. I just want to go to the next one. So I don't want to play this whole
empire and, well, actually more like Spain's colonies. Spain's glory days have come and gone. They are a declining empire, and there is major resistance in their colonies, especially in Cuba, Puerto Rico, and the Philippines. Meanwhile, the US is a rising empire.
Now, you brothers that are into the prophecy, you should be thinking of Daniel, the 7th chapter, right? Where there was one horn that came up and he took down 3 horns. One of the horns that America took down was Spain. And they took them down, of course, during the Spanish-American War, but that's just continental United States. But remember, Spain had territories that were going into, right? Puerto Rico, Cuba, the Philippines, and they also helped overthrow that as well. So you can further add that into how you break down the 3 horns, right?
And they already are pretty uncomfortable with Spain having colonies like 100 miles off their coast. But at the same time, they don't love the idea of true independence for places like Cuba or Puerto Rico. These are strategic islands right in the US's neighborhood. And like Hawaii, American companies have money invested, particularly in Cuba. Independence might mean them getting kicked out. So the US delves into this fight between Spain and their colonies. They use the explosion of an American Navy ship as their excuse, even though it was likely an accident, not an attack. But sometimes
So they did a false flag, like 9/11. They blew up one of these ships. See, these devils, they do the same thing. They have a pattern of behavior. They'll blow up their own ship, man, kill their own people, blame it on somebody else so they can go on the land and kill everybody. Let me play that part again.
into this fight between Spain and their colonies. They used the explosion of an American Navy ship as their excuse, even though it was likely an accident, not an attack. But sometimes stories matter more than truth. So the US sends in troops to liberate the rebels fighting against their Spanish colonizers, promising them independence, not only in Cuba and Puerto Rico, but later over here in the Philippines and Guam. These local uprisings eventually drive out the Spanish. And in all of these cases, the US reneges on their promise to give independence to these locals. And they figure out ways to govern Cuba and Puerto Rico indirectly themselves. The US has just piggybacked off several independence movements to enact several coups at once, allowing them to install pro-American leaders and a Navy base in Cuba, and eventually annexing Puerto Rico and Guam, which they still control, and the Philippines, which they held for 48 years. Again,
so, we read this. We read this in 1 Maccabees 8, right? We read this in 1 Maccabees 8. So we're going to touch on one more coup. So he touched on Hawaii, and he touched on the Spanish territories. So we're going to touch on one more. We're going to move on.
I made a whole video about this one too, if you want to go deeper. Anyway, we Nicaragua. It's 1909. There's a bunch of powerful
Sebulon in the building, right?
American companies here, but a new president comes to power vowing to regulate them. The US is not going to let this happen. So the Secretary of State starts spreading rumors to smear this guy, this president, saying that he's building a canal that would compete with the Panama Canal. But really, they're just upset because Nicaragua's taking loans from Europe. The US keeps painting this guy as a war criminal and someone worthy of being thrown out. So push comes to shove, and
that newspaper, they call him a dictator. They were doing that to this guy, man. He's trying to save his country. He said, I don't want to do trade with America. Y'all are lesser, what they say, more devilish than these Europeans. I'll do trade with Europe. I'm not doing trade with the US. US said, you're going to do trade with us. I don't care what you're talking about. You're going to get this money, and we're going to take your money. If you don't do trade with us, you're going to be a dictator, and we're going to overthrow you.
The US sends ships to both of Nicaragua's coasts. They assemble a bunch of Marines in Panama, basically just flexing on Nicaragua and telling the president to step down. And the benefit of being a rising superpower is that it worked. He has no choice but to step down. And soon a leader that the US likes comes to power. The coup is complete, and really, this is the first of many instances of the US meddling in Nicaragua. A few years later, the US is back in the region for another coup in next-door Honduras. This one was plotted by a band of private American citizens, and it follows a similar pattern. A new president comes to town, in this case directly inspired by Nicaragua's president, and he wants to take back control of the country from America.
He wants to take back control of the country from America. All these people America put down, they despised this system, huh? You know, they want to buy and sell and trade without America, and these damn devils ain't going for it.
In this case, directly inspired by Nicaragua's president, and he wants to take back control of the country from American businesses. In this case, we're talking about bananas. The banana companies were not going to let this happen. And it was mostly this guy, a banana businessman named Sam the Banana Man. He's not going to let this pesky president run his country. No. So he assembles his own militia. He literally buys a surplus Navy ship, loads it up with weapons, and starts his campaign to get this president out. He sails from New Orleans to the coast of Honduras, and he literally invades the country with like a private army. Wait, where's the US government in all this? They also didn't like the political direction of Honduras either, so they just sort of stood back. Let this private invasion happen, and then at the critical moment, the US steps in to order a ceasefire, basically bullying the president to step down. He had no way forward, no defense, so he resigns. And the Banana Man's leader of choice takes the presidency, giving the banana businessman land and a unique status to import anything he needs tax-free. And, wait for it, he refunds him for all of the coup expenses using public Honduran money. This Banana Man literally overthrew the government and made Honduras pay for it. Wow.
So you, like I said, you see the point. You get the point, right? I'm not going to play the whole thing. You get the point. America, they go in, they rape, rob, and murder. They extort, and they set people up, right? They set people up. You see what's going on in Iran now, man, right? You see what's going on with Israel and Iran now through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bashmi Yahushua, right? They want to paint the picture that these guys are building these nuclear weapons to destroy all of the earth, and that he's the dictator, he's killing children. We know what's going on, man. Let's go to the book of Nahum, the 3rd chapter, right? Let's go to Nahum, the 3rd chapter, and there's some more we want to get into through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bashmi Yahushua, right? Let's go to, first, I want to get Revelation 13 and 11, because I quoted that. And then I want to go to Nahum chapter 3, and I believe I want to start at verse 17, right? Let's go to Revelation chapter 13 and 11. If you want to watch the rest of that, you can. It gets worse, right? Revelation chapter 13 and 11. And I beheld another beast coming up out of the earth, and he had 2 horns like a lamb, and he spake as a dragon. This beast coming up out of the earth is America, Babylon the Great. And he have 2 horns like a lamb, like a ram. A ram, he'll charge himself at you and break your leg. America, they will charge themselves at you like a lamb, but they'll charge themselves at you with religion and politics. Really, their foreign policy. This is a so-called Christian nation, and we know what that means. And also, democracy is the foundation of all of their foreign policies, right? It's that facade. So their strength is really their religion and politics. But they really speak as a dragon. They're really here to overthrow your kingdom, to take your gold, take your oil, take your resources, wage war against you. They're really violent, serpentile, freaked out murderers on the earth, man. Now let's go to Nahum chapter 3. Let's go to Nahum chapter 3. And the beautiful thing about it is that the precepts back it up, man. And the Most High speaks about this. Nahum chapter 3 and verse number 17. Thy crowns are as the locust, and thy captains are as the grasshoppers, meaning your military might is massive, which camp in the hedges in the cold day, but when the sun ariseth, they flee away, and their place is not known where they are. So the cold day represents now. This is the wintertime, darkness, right? No fruit, all manner of evil and violence on the earth. When the sun arises, meaning when Yahweh Shah returns, when the brightness and the understanding of the truth is manifest, the Lord is going to destroy all the locusts and the grasshoppers, which represents the military might of the so-called white man. Their navy, their air force, their wicked, demonic, folly-filled space force, and the Marines, right? Verse number 18. Thy shepherds slumber, O king of Assyria. Thy nobles shall dwell in the dust. Thy people are scattered upon the mountains, and no man gathereth them. See, the shepherds are these elites. That's what they call the American public. One of their names they call them is sheeple. A sheeple is just a simple, naive individual who follows the masses. They have a conformity complex. They don't question anything. They set their TV stand up. They watch Wheel of Fortune. They watch Jeopardy. They watch their sitcom. They eat a Big Mac, a large fry, drink a Coke, watch Fox News, go to sleep, wake up, read the paper, get a cup of coffee, drive to work, go in the cubicle, punch numbers, get off, sit down, drink a beer, eat another Big Mac with a large fry, another Coke, watch Wheel of Fortune, Jeopardy, a sitcom, Fox News, and go to sleep. He does the same thing until he retires. That's the sheeple. They're just stuck in this zone. So if the people are the sheeple, the shepherds are the elites who control their minds through sorcery, through the media. And the Lord said, your shepherds are going to dwell in the dust. He's taken away all of the control that you have over the people. And your people are going to be scattered. Right? Verse number 19. Here's the point. Nahum 3:19. There is no healing of thy bruise. Thy wound is grievous. All they hear the bruit of thee shall clap their hands over thee. For upon whom hath not thy wickedness passed continually? So the Lord said, when he destroyed the society, there's no healing it. And everybody that watches America gets destroyed, they're going to clap their hands over thee. Don't you know? Didn't we just show you all of the nations that America overthrew through wickedness, man? And I only played 5 minutes of the video. Any land that America's in, they done stole it and robbed and took it down. So all of the nations, they're going to clap their hands. And why are they going to clap their hands? Because the Lord said, for upon whom hath not thy wickedness passed continually? Meaning you've always been a murderer. Everybody you touch, man, dies or is beguiled. Your wickedness is everywhere. That's what Yahweh Bashmi Abishai said, man. Right? Let's go to Psalms 35 and 20. Psalms 35 and verse number 20. It reads, for they speak not peace, but they devise deceitful matters against them that are quiet in the land. And don't let you have oil, opium, don't let you have children that they want. Don't let you have what else they want? Gold. These different, there's certain elements, I can't think of the name, but it's used for computer chips. It's used for software. There's certain other elements out the earth that are native to certain lands. And these people are quiet in the land. You had these Hamites in the Congo, man. They have rubber trees and all that. And believe they was from Belgium. Can't think of the devil name. He went up there. He was chopping off all their hands, man. Chopping off all their noses, mutilating them, eating them, man, and killing them with the sword. They were quiet in the land. Most of these nations are quiet in their land. They mind their own business. But America, they devise deceitful matters against them. Right? Let's get that in Micah. Let's get the classic. Micah chapter 2. This is Micah chapter 2 and verse number 1. It reads, woe to them that devise iniquity, that work evil upon their beds. When the morning is light, they practice it, because it is in the power of their hand. So before these devils go to sleep, they think about what other nation can I take down. They think about iniquity and sin on their bed. Huh? So in our beds, we're thinking about, I got to go to work. I got to do this. Then I got to get gas. Do I have enough to pay this bill off? Then I got to do this. Esau, all that stuff is paid. These elites ain't worried about that. Now they're thinking about what evil can they do. Man, I ain't get to really molest that so-and-so. Man, I ain't really get no baby blood. I need some more baby. But then they got gold over there. I wonder how I can get that gold. Maybe I can murder them. No, matter of fact, I'll just drop a bomb. You know what? No, So this is what they think about. Then they wake up in the morning and they get up and they get the job done. Verse number 2. And they covet fields and take them by violence, and houses and take them away So they oppress a man in his house, even a man in his heritage, man. Right? That's plain. You don't need an in-depth breakdown for this. They covet, they lust after your resources, after your fields. Fertile lands, lands that are abundant in natural resources, right? And they take your field by violence. They'll take your house and they'll oppress you and your heritage, right? And we went into in Iran, speaking about this current event. See, in Iran right now, they overthrew this the prime minister. This was back in the 50s, right? They had a coup and they overthrew the prime minister. And he set up, again, going back to the point, they set up this guy, Mohammad Reza Pahlavi. Now, I'm going to read a little of this. And again, this goes into why Iran is a major picture and prophecy today. So it reads, this coup, it was led by the Iranian army and supported by the U.S. and the United Kingdom. The coup aimed at the strengthening of the autocratic rule of the Shah. So they wanted him to have complete control so they could work with him. He was a coon. A key motive was to protect the British oil interest in Iran after its government refused to concede to Western oil demands. So the previous guy, where's the previous guy at? He said, I'm not getting down with y'all, man. The hell with the so-called white man and the beast. He said, okay, I hear you. Sounds good. All right, yeah, y'all do y'all thing. Y'all, look, my bad. Right, did too much. I'm gonna fall back. Right, go ahead, Muhammad. Right, y'all. That's your country. That's your kingdom. Then what did they really do? They went and they had a conspiracy, right, to overthrow this guy. Let's see that, so they can get the oil. Right, about the coup. It was instigated by the United States under the name TP Ajax Project or Operation Ajax. Just like the state of Israel now, they have Operation Rising Lion, Operation Midnight Hammer. Back then, it was Operation Ajax. And the United Kingdom under the Operation Boot. This period, check this out, began a period of dissolution for Iranian democracy and society, right? So they overthrew the kingdom. They got their oil. They created the BP gas station. They became billionaires, and they overthrew this man to take the oil. And they put this guy up. Now, this guy was in charge until he wasn't. Then the Iranians, they said, man, you're a damn coon. You're a sellout. And the Iranians actually overthrew this guy, right? Like I went into earlier. And they put, this the guy I wanted earlier, right? This the guy I wanted earlier. They put this guy in charge, right? This is the guy I wanted. They put this guy in charge. I had the other guy. He's the current guy, but this is the guy that the Iranians set up. He became a supreme leader, right? He became a supreme leader. So then you had his predecessor who came up. And ever since these guys, this guy's, what's his name? Ruhollah Khomeini and his successor, Ali Khamenei, ever since these guys been in charge, America has been calling these guys dictators, terrorists, and all manner of just every evil slander under the earth. And now they want to overthrow, right? They want to overthrow. Let's put this guy back up. Hold on. Right, bear with me. Let me get this guy. They want to overthrow Ali Khamenei, and they want to put this guy in charge. They want to put this guy, right? They want to set this guy up because this guy, he's also a coon, right? He's also a coon. Look at this, the poster boy of the democracy movement. And guess what? He's actually the son of the previous coon. Right? Remember this coon? This is his son. So they want to overthrow that guy and they want to put this guy in charge. Right? They want to put this guy in charge. Look at this. But now they're saying, well, it's because they have these weapons of destruction. They got all these nuclear bombs. They want to overthrow them again like they did in the 50s and put another coon back in charge. Everybody knows that, except the people who don't know. Right? Pahlavi had advocated for Iran to become an ally of the West and Europe. And they don't want that, man. He wants to make them part of the beast and part of this system, right? But they won't let him, right? They won't let him. He comes from a long line of coons, right? Muhammad Reza Pahlavi, the coon, who gave Esau billions of dollars in oil. And now this guy, he wants to also give them billions of dollars in oil, man. So through the spirit and power of Yahweh Shemel Shai, we understand what's really going on now, right? Let's go to Psalms 94 and 20. Don't let the news fool you, man, right? Psalms chapter 94 and verse number 20. It reads, shall the throne of iniquity have fellowship with thee, which frameth mischief by your law? The throne of iniquity is America. Remember it. The Lord said, come down in the book of Isaiah 47 and 1 on down. Come down and sit in the dust. Where are you coming down from? From your throne. What kind of throne? The throne of sin. Where you enforce all manner of wickedness and coups, and you want to overthrow this kingdom and drop bombs over here and put crack in this neighborhood and extort this nation over here. America's the throne of iniquity. The Most High said, you think they're going to have fellowship with you? You think America's going to have your best interest at heart? Even Esau said, the days of mourning for my father at hand, then when I slay my brother Jacob. You think he's going to have fellowship with you when he said, I'm going to slay you? Look how he's dealing with the Elamites and the Hamites. But you think he's going to look out for you? If you're an Israelite and you think that America is going to support you spiritually, mentally, physically, economically, on any level, you're a damn fool, man. And you deserve to believe that. The Most High told you they frame, meaning they create. They have a structure, a foundation. They have laws. They plan mischief, and they do it by their laws. Verse number 21. They gather themselves together against the soul of the righteous and condemn the innocent blood. But Yahweh, Bahashmi Abishai, is my defense, and my God is the rock of my refuge. That's right. And he shall bring upon them their own iniquity, and shall cut them off in their own wickedness. Yea, Yahweh, our God, shall cut them off. And the Most High gonna cut them off, man. Right? You in the world, I gotta cut this person off. And the Most High, he gonna cut them off, man. He's gonna cut them off from the land of the living. Right? He's gonna cut them off from the land of the living. And again, just as we wind down, these are just some of the policies that America had. This is the good neighbor policy. It's part of their wine. This is how they took over Latin America, right? You can read this on your own, right? It reads, this reinforced that the United States would be a good neighbor. Who believes that Esau is a good neighbor? They told Asher, Zebulon, all of the tribes down there, Naphtali, Issachar, don't worry about it. We're a good neighbor, right? But they really overthrew them. We went into how in the video they overthrew Nicaragua, they overthrew Guatemala, Panama, but they came off saying their whole policy was called, we're going to be a good neighbor. The good neighbor policy. It's part of their foreign policy. Hypocrites. The good neighbor. And engage in reciprocal exchanges with Latin America countries. Overall, Roosevelt's administration expected that this new policy would create new economic opportunities in the form of reciprocal trade agreements and reassert the influence of the United States and Latin America. Let me read that again. And reassert the influence of the United States and Latin America. Man, we're going to get y'all drunk. This policy is to get you drunk. We're going to influence you to be a homosexual. We want McDonald's over there. We want gay bars. We want Walmarts. We want Home Depots. We want churches, right? Religious churches over here. Look, we want y'all to be able. We want y'all women to be whores, right here. Wear these clothes. Here's some GMO food, and here's a Diet Coke. Here's a Pepsi, right? Here's a Big Mac. That's the influence. However, many Latin American governments were not convinced, man. Right? You see that? They were not convinced because they knew that the so-called white man is the devil. Right? They knew that he's the devil of the earth. Let's get a quick precept. Job 15. Actually, Habakkuk, the 2nd chapter, but I'm going to actually jump down to verse number 15. Habakkuk chapter 2 and 15. Woe unto him that giveth his neighbor drink, that puttest thy bottle to him, and makest him drunken also, that thou mayest look on their nakedness. And that's a wicked thing to do, man. Your neighbor's sitting there chilling, minding his business. You crack open a bottle of wine and you force it down his throat. He tries to push you off of him, but you pin him down and say, drink, drink, drink. He says, get off of me, get off of me. It's spitting all up, it's all on his shirt, and you get another bottle of wine until he get drunk. And now he get drunk, right? And he don't know what's going on, and he's bugged out of his mind. He don't know where he at. He could barely see, and you just start to imagine somebody does this. And now this person just starts taking off their clothes, right? And the guy don't know where he at. Then he pull this person's pants down, man, right? And he just looks at their nakedness and rubs his hands and grins, right? Says, what can I do with this person? That's wicked on the literal level. America's doing that on a metaphoric level. Instead of literal wine that they're giving mortal man, they're giving you philosophies, these foreign policies. They're making you accept them. If you don't accept them, you're going to be destroyed. And when you do accept them, they understand that it's causing you to be naked, man, because you begin to be influenced by America. You begin to think like them, talk like them. You have their stores in your community, right? These guys, man, they had banana businesses and sugarcane businesses. These nations were stripped naked, man. Right? They were stripped naked. And the Lord said that's an evil thing, man, to force your foreign policy and philosophies on somebody else. Only a creep would do that. Verse 16, a pervert. Thou art filled, this Habakkuk 2 and 16. Thou art filled with shame for glory. Drink thou also, and let thy foreskin be uncovered. The cup of Yahweh's right hand shall be turned unto thee, and shameful spewing shall be on thy glory. Meaning, I'm going to expose you. You want to get everybody else drunk? You're going to drink of my wrath, and I'm going to expose you. This is what it means, let your foreskin be uncovered. Because America is an uncircumcised, wicked kingdom. And the Lord going to roll back this some graphic imagery right here. He's going to roll back their foreskin, that covering, and you're going to see all of their secret sins and wickedness. And the Lord said his right hand is going to be turned unto thee, and you're going to drink of that. You're going to vomit it all up. And you're going to have shameful spewing all on your glory. The Lord going to destroy you, man. All right? The Most High is going to destroy this so-called white man. Because as we're finding out, they're nothing but devils. Right? They don't want Iran to receive support, man. You got China, Iran, and Russia and Pakistan. They're holding a closed door NSA level meeting under the SCO. India, they're not invited. Remember, India, they too shaky. They're not invited. They just made a backdoor deal with America. And these are the kings of the East, like we've been saying. And we've been going through the spirit, the SCO, the Shanghai Corporation Organization, which is the political term, the geopolitical term of the biblical name, Kings of the East, found in the book of Revelation, the 16th chapter. So they don't want Iran to get that power and support from Russia and China and Pakistan. These are the kings of the East. And we did a lesson maybe a month ago about India, because India started looking shaky. Yeah, you got BRICS, Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa, and other nations want to join. But why wasn't India invited? I'm going to show you why India wasn't invited, even though they're part of BRICS. Is this their prime minister shaking hands with fans? This is why they're not invited. You don't think Putin saw this, man? And this guy, he ought to be ashamed of his damn self, man. This Elamite. I know his forefathers are turning in their damn grave. Look at this. This is why he's not invited. You don't think the leader of China saw this? I said, what the hell are you doing, man? The hell is your problem? Why are you shaking his hand? I thought you was with us. You don't think Khamenei, I know I'm butchering his name, in Iran, you don't think he saw this, man? You know? Flirting with the beast. He wanted some wine. This guy, man, he wanted to wet his damn whistle. And he got a cup full of wine for him. He want to drink. You know? And the Lord said, let no stranger into your house. So look at Elon, man, getting in bed, getting naked, man, and ready to lay down with the whore. Let me get that in Revelation 17, right? Getting naked, getting turned on, man. Slakia for the wording, but hey, you know, they're getting aroused, they're getting seduced, they're getting their rocks off, you know, if you can understand spiritually with the whore, which is America. Revelation chapter 17 and verse number, let's get straight to the point. And verse number 3. It reads, actually, I'm going to read 1. Revelation 17 and 1. And there came one of the 7 angels, which had the 7 vials, and talked with me, saying unto me, come hither, I will show unto thee the judgment of the great whore that sitteth upon many waters. The great whore is America. The many waters that they sit upon represent the nations. You read that in verse 15 on down, right? So they have dominion over many nations. Verse 2, here's the point. With whom the kings of the earth have committed fornication, and the inhabitants of the earth have been made drunk with the wine of her fornication. So a lot of these nations that America overthrew, those citizens, by default, they became drunk due to the puppet leaders that America set up. Because by default, America doesn't go into a land that says, accept Christianity, accept this, right? They don't go to the citizens and have a massive town hall meeting and says, okay, boys and girls, I'm going to teach you about how to be a homosexual, how to be, love Hollywood industry and love this music and shop at Walmart and buy a McDonald's. They don't have a one-on-one meeting. What they do, again, they set up puppet kings and they influence them to influence the citizens. This is how people got drunk. America, they the supplier. And the puppet kings that America set up, they're the ones responsible for getting everybody else drunk. That's how before this knowledge, we got drunk. But who got us drunk? What was the medium? The education system. That was the medium. The media, the television, the curriculums, the religious institutions, the medical and science institutions. These establishments were used as conduits to get us drunk off the wine. There's no rich old Amalekite that came down and said, I'm going to show y'all how to be wicked. That's how we got drunk, man. Right? This devil, he's the ultimate devil, the serpent, whose bite is like the adder. Right? So let's move on. So that's why these nations right here, they don't want the wine. China, Iran, Russia, Pakistan, they don't want to get drunk. That's why these are the enemies of America. And really, if you had eyes to see, you would know that these are really not that there's no good guy, right? But if you understand what I'm saying, America and their allies are the bad guys and the axis of evil, and these guys are the good guys. If you had, if it was on that plane, we know it's not like that because we're in this knowledge and Yahushua is going to destroy everybody. But if I was just a regular old citizen, we were taught that these are the bad guys, what they call them, the axis of evil. All of these guys that you were taught were evil, they weren't evil. You were taught Mussolini, you were taught Hitler, you were taught this dictator, this guy. All these guys were evil guys. Well, what made them evil? Because they didn't want to accept being a homosexual, accept democracy. I might flag this video, man. They don't want to accept the Amalekites and their deep state shadow government influence in their banking system. That's what made them the axis of evil and threats to the New World Order. So they had a closed door meeting and nobody's invited, even India. Because again, India, look at them getting drunk. Like I said, this guy, man, he ought to be ashamed of his damn self. He too damn old to be going for this. Hey, but when she show up, man, and the Lord says, stumble not at the beauty of a woman and desire her not for pleasure. That's Sirach 25 or 21. Turn away from another's beauty, for herewith love is kindled as a fire. See, he got the staring. He saw that suit, that tie, that money, and he kind of start blushing, man. Now look at him. India is not invited, man. This is what you call secondhand embarrassment. Look at this. All right. It's a goddamn shame. Right? So let's move on. You also have this going on, right? I'm going to play this quick clip. Let me see where I'm at with time. All right. We're making good time. Now, this goes back to what we're going into, how America received their orders. Here's what Satan Yahoo said. He said, this is back in the 80s. We own the Senate, the Congress, and have a strong Amalekite lobby on our side. America won't force us into anything, Satan Yahoo said in 1980. I can't think of who said Satan Yahoo. I didn't create that. Somebody else made that up. Hey, but it's fitting. Satan Yahoo. Right? Now, people are wondering, the public, why does America do the bidding of the state of Israel? Right? Why are they forcing themselves to please Amalek? Well, Amalek owns America, right? And I'm going to play this quick clip to prove that. It's 21 seconds. They own America through the banking institution, right? So all of these wars, although America's doing it, it's done by the deep state shadow government of the Amalekites, the wine, the demonic wars of the beast. So let's play this clip. And everybody drunk, man. I believe they speak in their Yiddish, but they got the subtitles. They said, we don't have America with us. That's what the reporter said. Let me see if I can make this larger. Now, Satan Yahoo said, USA is not a unified bloc. We have the Senate, the Congress, and a record-strong Jewish lobby on our side.
יש את הסנאט, יש את הקונגרס, יש את הכוח היהודי שהוא עצום, יותר חזק משהיה אי פעם.
We have a strong influence over the general support in America. That's why Putin said these men in dark suits, they tell everybody what to do. That's the strong influence. That's why America's giving them billions of dollars. And this is fair use, right? This is fair use.
יש דעת קהל, יש לנו כוחות כבירים בדעת הקהל שמתנגדים למדיניות הזאת, גדולי הפרשנים.
America won't force us into anything.
אמריקה לא תכפה עלינו דבר, אם לא...
See that? Right? So they say, we own America, we own the Congress, we own the Senate. So if Congress wants to declare war, which is the only way America really truly can go to war, if they want to go to war, Amalek is going to have to get the approval. Right? They're going to have to give the approval. So here's another quick clip I want to play. Right? Now this is from this page right here, but I checked it out. Our foreign policy is governed by a deep state apparatus. The CIA, Mossad, MI6. CIA is the American Central Intelligence Agency. The Mossad or Mossad is the CIA for the Israelis, and MI6 is the CIA version for Britain or the UK. Professor Jeffrey Sachs, he said what? Here's what he said. Mossad effectively, check this out. Mossad effectively has determined U.S. policy for decades, and Trump is falling into line. That's what that first picture I showed you. All of the presidents fell in line. They all put their yarmulke on, and they all bowed down at that wall, right? President Putin in 2017 expressed something that we all learn as well. He knew it in 2017. He said, I've dealt with many American presidents that come into office with ideas, but then men in dark suits and briefcases wearing blue ties show up and explain to the world the way, right? So I might play, 20 seconds of this, then we're going to move on because we wind it down, right? Let's play 20 seconds of that clip. And this is the wine of the beast, right? Of the whore. On a carnal surface level.
Fair to say, Professor Sachs, that as he was uttering those very words, CIA, MI6, and Mossad were preparing the dastardly and unprovoked attack that Israel visited upon Iran last week.
Certainly, Mossad is in the lead. It's
he said Amalek is in the lead.
Assassination and murder unit number 1.
This is fair use, right? Fair use.
But Mossad effectively has determined U.S. policy.
Mossad has determined U.S. policy. So the grapes of the wine for America really comes from Amalek. And this really, this goes way back to Genesis, the 3rd chapter. 15 on down. The seed of the serpent. So the wine that they give to other nations, it really starts with Amalek, who influences the beast. All the foreign policies, all of their moves they make, they have to be in cahoots with the so-called Jew. So the wine is the foreign policy, but the grapes are the ideas and substance that comes from Amalek. The poison of the serpent. The venom comes from America, but the fangs, here's another analogy, the fangs that get into you is Amalek.
For decades, and Trump is falling into line. So it's quite odd. Effectively has determined U.S. policy for decades, and Trump is falling into line. So it's quite amazing to see one president after another falls into line with the Murder Incorporated led by Israel.
When he
see that, hey, this guy might come up missing. You heard it here first. I don't know who this guy is, but he better watch his damn mouth if he want to live. These Edomites are on edge now. The Lord is using them. He's working. The Most High is dealing with them. He might come up missing. Oh, he committed suicide. He died in a car accident. He got robbed at gunpoint. He got shot. All we found was his wallet. You know how these devils get down. With us, oh, he hung himself in the tree. Brother just got damn lynched in New York. Oh, he committed suicide in the tree. He hung himself. So this guy, he might not be here too long.
he said those words, you and I and others on the show rejoiced. An American president condemning the neocons, an American president condemning military adventurism and intervention.
Adventurism, for brothers that don't know, is going into other lands to rape, rob, and murder, right? That's all adventurism is.
Into foreign countries. It was a shoot.
You can read that in Wisdom of Solomon, the 2nd chapter. Adventurism is in Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 2. Let us leave tokens of our voluptuousness in every place. Let us oppress. Let us take this land down. Let us do that. Adventurism is Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 2. it also goes into the thought process of Amalek and their foreign policy. I may get that too, right?
With the Murder Incorporated, led by Israel.
When he said those words, you and I and others on the show rejoiced. An American president condemning the neocons, an American president condemning military adventurism and intervention into foreign countries. It was a charade. It was a facade.
So they don't believe us. Believe them. It was a charade. It was a facade.
It was a deception.
We don't know exactly what happened between then and now in one sense. I think President Putin in 2017 expressed something that we all learn as well. He knew it in 2017 in an interview with Le Figaro that he gave. He said, I've dealt with many American presidents. They come into office with ideas, but then men in dark suits and briefcases wearing blue ties show up and explain to them the world the way that it will be. And so you never hear of those ideas again. So I can't peer into the inner thinking of Trump, but everything he's saying and doing today violates what he said last month. And in the end, we know that our foreign policy is governed by a deep state apparatus of those ideas again.
You hear this, right?
So I can't peer into the inner thinking of Trump, but
he said, I don't know what Trump is thinking, but remember, Trump is a puppet. Here, listen to what he said.
Everything he's saying and doing today violates what he said last month. And in the end, we know that our foreign policy is governed by a deep state apparatus.
So that's it on that. Like I said, you want to watch the rest, you can see the rest on your own, right? He said it's governed by a deep state apparatus. Now let me get the rest of this. I know we pushing time, right, through the spirit and power of Yahweh Shemel Shai, right? Let me get this precept real quick, right, through the spirit. Let's go to Psalms 28. That's what I want to get. Let's go to Psalms chapter 28. Right. So everything is biblical, man. You're looking at what's going on in Iran. Now you have a different outlook, right? Some of you brothers know this or knew this. Brothers that may not, we have a different outlook concerning foreign policy and events that happen in the Middle East. All right. Psalms chapter 28 and verse number 3. Draw me not away with the wicked and with the workers of iniquity, which speak peace to their neighbors, but mischief is in their hearts. Give them according to their deeds and according to the wickedness of their endeavors, like taking over other nations, right? Rape, rob, and murder. Those are their endeavors. That's adventurism. Give them after the work of their hands, render to them their desert, right? Or their desert. So the Most High is going to take them down, man. Right? The Most High is going to take them down. Now, what else did I have? Right? I had adventurism. Let's see. All right, here's another thing. Like I said, we had a lot we had to get into. Satan Yahoo, 1990. Here's what he said. Now, he quoted this. Now, he's holding up to 666. America is a golden calf. Now, ain't he supposed to be one of the men of the Lord? And he's supposed to be one of the elect, right? Or so they say. America is a golden calf, and we will suck it dry, chop it up, and sell it off piece by piece until there is nothing left but the world's biggest welfare state that we will create and can control. This is what we do to countries that we hate. We destroy them very slowly. It's that America's a golden calf, man. Cash cow, right? We worship it. That's our enterprise. That's our corporation. Through the Federal Reserve and through the military, we use them to do all of our biddings, right? We use America to do all of our biddings, to go to war for us, right? To enforce foreign policy, right? To create wickedness, right? To create the image of the beast that had a wound by a sword that did live. That's what we're going to do. He said that. I didn't say that. This ain't AI, man, right? This is not AI. He came out and he said that through the spirit and power of Yahweh, Ba'ashima Mashiach wa Malak Yabashah, right? He came out and he said that. Now, what else do I have? Now, here's what another Amalekite said. I don't care what the American people think. I own the Congress. That's how he feels about you Americans, man. They don't care about you. None of this stuff matters. You vote, and I got to get to the booth, and I called out of work. It's election day. Did you watch the debate, right, between Biden and Trump? Oh, he won. This guy, he brought out a great point, man. He said, I don't even care about all that. I own the Congress. We own the Senate. We're going to call the shots, and we're going to do what we've been doing. Here's another thing he said, right? He says, at this point, the furious Sharon, now he's one of the older leaders of the state of Israel, their prime minister, Ariel Sharon. Here's what he said. Reportedly turned toward press saying, every time we do something, you tell me Americans will do this and will do that. I want to tell you something very clear. Don't worry about American pressure on Israel. We, the Jewish people, control America, and the Americans know it. He said that, man. If you're wondering why they want to go to Iran, you're wondering why Trump is at their biddings, why he's wearing a yarmulke, why I had this picture pulled up, where all of the world leaders bow down, they all have been bitten by the serpent, Amalek, right? Amalek, the wicked demon of the earth, right? He said, we, and you could look this up on your own, man. He said, we own them, and they know it, man. There's nothing they can do about it. Pretty much, look, they got to deal with it. They got to deal with it, right? Let's see, what else did I have? Here's another quote. Here's what General Wesley Clark said. Now, he's a retired four-star Army general, and he was the top man of NATO. Right? He said this. We're going to take out 7 countries in 5 years, starting with Iraq, and then Syria, Lebanon, Libya. Remember, they killed Gaddafi, Somalia, Sudan, and finishing off Iran. Right? The U.S. wars against Mideast were planned long before 9/11. Satanic plan to slaughter millions and displace huge populations to poverty. So they came out and said what they were going to do. And they're in the last days, and they said, we're going to finish off Iran. Right? They came out and said that. Right? Remember, they went into Iraq, right, for weapons of mass destruction, but they took over $800 million worth of gold. Right? That's what happened when they went into Iraq. They made the people think that they had weapons of mass destruction, and they wanted the gold. They're making the people think Iran wants to build nuclear weapons to kill American children, right? And to stop baseball and to stop the Star-Spangled Banner and the American great lifestyle and the American dream. And we must take that evil dictator out. And they said that about Hussein, right? They went in there and they took all this damn gold, right? Now, I looked it up. Some sources say they took $500 million worth of gold. Right? Straight up and down. Here's another thing. Like I said, we had a lot we got to get into. Right? We got a lot we got to get into. We just getting started. Right? In July, now this is from the cradle.co, right? Why does the U.S. still control every penny of Iraqi oil revenues, right? So check this out. In July, the Iraqi central bank halted all foreign transactions in Chinese yuan, succumbing to intense pressure from the United States Federal Reserve to do so. Said, you better not do trade with China in that yuan. You better use that dollar. If I catch you doing the yuan, I'm going to kill you. If I catch you spending that yuan, I'm going to murder your wife. I'm going to murder your mother. You better use that dollar. Remember, hey, America's a gangbanger, man. They're a gangbanger. The shutdown followed a brief period during which Baghdad had allowed merchants to trade in yuan, an initiative intended to mitigate excessive U.S. restrictions on Iraq's access to U.S. dollars. And America, they found out about that, right? They found out about that. Let's jump down. Since the signing of Executive Order 13303 by Bush in May of 2003, all revenues, meaning all money, from Iraq's oil sales have been funneled directly to an account at the Federal Reserve Bank of New York. See that? This is real. Any money they make off of oil, it goes straight to the beast. And they went in there to do this, man, to take their oil and take their gold, right? That executive order, protection of the development fund for Iraq and other property in which Iraq has an interest, has been renewed annually by every U.S. president, including Biden in 2024. This executive order essentially places control over Iraq's oil revenues under the discretion of the U.S. president, leaving Baghdad with limited control over its resources and earnings. So they took over all their gold and oil and made them poor. The roots of Iraq's financial dependence on the U.S. So here's where it all comes from. Why do they rely on America? Well, it goes back to the 1990s. Following Iraq's invasion of Kuwait in 1990, United Nations Security Council Resolution 661 imposed severe economic sanctions to isolate Iraq from international trade. These sanctions, exasperated by former President Hussein's refusal to comply with withdrawal demands, crippled Iraqi economy. That's why Hussein was the dictator. He said, I'm not getting with y'all demands. That's why he became known as a murderer of children, a man that was creating weapons of mass destruction. Because he said, I'm not drinking of your wine. I don't want none of your wine. I said, okay. Right? This damn dog said, okay. All right. You don't want no wine? You better ask about me. You see what I did in Honduras. You see what I did to the Philippines. You see what I did to Guam, Cuba, Dominican Republic, Mexico. You know my record, man. Hey, these Iraqis, they was playing with fire. They said, man, I know your record, man. Hey, but the hell with you, man. Right? We're not going for that. Mexico, you're not going for that? He's not going for that. Right? Okay, he's not going for that. Right? That's how they talk. I'm just translating it. They didn't say that verbatim. You can't quote me on that. Hey, but that's how the conversation went. America said, all right, here we come. Right? I'll see you later. Right? I get up with you. Right? Look, I get up with you. Next thing you know, bombs dropping, helicopters, 500,000 soldiers, raping a woman, murdering the children, taking the gold. Oh, you said what? You said you don't want no wine? Now Iraq, okay, I have a little wine, right? Just give me a little bit. Yeah. How that taste? How that feel? Feel good, don't it? Feel good, don't it? And they drinking the wine. Yeah, it feels good, right? Hey, that's how America gets down, man. That's a Beckett, the second chapter, making you drink that wine. If you don't, the economy's finished. Let me read one more of this. You can read this whole article on your own. UNSC Resolution 687, passed in 1991 after the Persian Gulf War, extended these sanctions while introducing the controversial oil for food program. If you give us oil, we'll give you money to feed your people. If you don't give us no oil, your people are going to starve. Although it allowed Iraq to sell oil in exchange for humanitarian goods like food and medicine, the sanctions resulted in immense human suffering, with over 1 million Iraqis, half of them children, dying during this period. The U.S. Secretary of State, Madeleine Albright, infamously defended the sanctions in a 1996 interview, stating that the deaths were worth the price. Let's go to Revelation chapter 18, right? Let's go to Revelation, the 18th chapter. Actually, 11. I want Revelation 11 and 18. Right? It reads, and the nations were angry. See that? And thy wrath is come, and the time of the dead that they should be judged, and that thou shouldest give reward unto thy servants the prophets, and to the saints, and them that fear thy name, small and great, and shouldest destroy them which destroy the earth. And they destroyed the earth, right? Economies, kingdoms, environments, right? Ecosystems, banks, and the nations are angry, right? They're pissed, right? They're going to wake up and vex the society. Let's go to Isaiah chapter 10, right? Quick precept. I may get one more. We're going to wind down. Slakia. Isaiah chapter 10 and verse number 13. For he said, by the strength of my hand I have done it, and by my wisdom, for I am prudent. And I have removed, this is how the so-called white man thinks, and I have removed the bounds of the people and have robbed their treasures. And I have put down the inhabitants like a valiant man. And my hand hath found as a nest the riches of the people. And as one gathereth eggs that are left, have I gathered all the earth. And there was none that moved the wing or opened the mouth or peeped. That's how America get down. They gather all of the earth and nobody say a damn thing about it, man. Right? Nobody's saying a damn thing about it. Another reason why they want to go into Iran, because of the Iran-China railway cooperation, which essentially excludes America from having influence on Iranian trade. Amalek knows that. And they say, you bet not have this railway cooperation with China. If you complete this cooperation, we're going to bomb you. And all of a sudden, now they bomb them, right? Now they bomb them. The new China-Iran corridor helps mitigate the risk of naval interdiction by Western forces that hamper Iranian trade. So now they're doing trade by land. So the American U.S. military can't bomb them on sea. The railway deepens Tehran's integration into the Belt and Road Initiative and offers Central Asian countries an access to Iranian ports on international waters. So they said they're cutting America off. They're cutting Amalek off. You ain't getting no oil no more. Get the hell out. We doing trade with China. We doing trade with Russia. See, Iran is not like Iraq. Iraq, they talk, hey, but they drink that wine. Iran not drinking no damn wine, man. They seen all these people fold. They said, the hell with y'all, man. They standing on they standing on business, right? And Amalek don't like that. Tehran's growing economic and logistical integration into the Eurasian network may undermine Western efforts to isolate the country, right? See that? So you see what's going on in the earth, man. You see what's going on in the earth. You see why Iran is being attacked, why they're public enemy number one, why these wars are kicking off, what foreign policy is, what the wine of the beast is. So you don't have to sit back and wonder, well, what's really going on? We know what's going on based off of prophecy. The spirit and power of Yahweh Bashmiel Shai and Yahweh Bashmiel Shai is written and said, that which hath been is now, and that which is to be hath already been, and the Most High required that which is past. The pattern of behavior, the MO of this beast in this system from the time of the Romans speaks to what he's going to do on the earth. It's important to understand geopolitics and prophecy and watch to see what's going on in the earth. And even now, they're doing something called the Abraham's Accordance, and they're trying to get other Arabic nations to be on side with America, which is going to go back into 2nd Ezra 15 with the dragons of Arabia fighting against the Carmanians. So there's a lot going on in the earth. Stay circumspect, stay in the spirit. And with that, we're going to close up, giving, of course, our honor and glory to Yahweh. Bahashima Mashiach Wamalak Abashai. Most High willing you were edified. Kwame Shalom. Shalom.